the next lesson is on something called similar objects. So, what I'm going to start off here first is just defining what similar objects are. So, two objects are similar if their dimensions are proportional. Okay, so what that means is, or in other words, if the scale factor, k, is the same, the scale factor is the same for all measurements. All right. So the most classic example that I thought of, or I could think of as similar objects, would be Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. All right. So this is from the movie Austin Powers, which was very popular when I was growing up. So, anyways, side note, yeah, if you haven't watched the movie, maybe watch it. It's pretty funny stuff. So anyways, Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. All right, so to see if they, or to check whether they are similar objects, what we need to do is we need to compare measurements, right? So to compare it, we need to know what the measurements are. Okay, so here I've listed Dr. Evil's measurements for the head, arms, and legs, and Mini-Me as well, head, arms, and legs. Right? So basically, to check if they are both similar objects, what we need to do is we need to find the scale factor for each one of these measurements. Right? So for instance, for the head, my scale factor, okay, again, it's the nu divided by the actual or the original. So in this case, Mini-Me is a replica of Dr. Evil, so Mini-Me would be considered the new object. So we're going to go 12.5 and divide it by 20. Okay. And this should give us a decimal. So let's just see what that is. So 12.5 divided by 20, that's 0.625. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with the arms. So in this case, the scale factor, I'm going to take the 31.25 and divide it by 50. And we can see what we get here. Okay, so 31.25 divided by 50 gives us again 0.625. All right. And the last measurement there, the legs. Again, the scale factor in this case, we'll take the new one here, 43.75 divided by the 70. Okay, and let's see what we get there. 0.625. All right, so what that means is, so since all three scale factors, so in other words, k, are the same, what that means is Dr. Evil and Mini-Me are similar objects. All right. If let's say two are the same, right, but we got the third one different, then they would not be similar objects, right? Or you can have like 10 of the same measurements, but if the 11th measurement is not the same in terms of the scale factor, then they are not similar objects. Okay. All right. So in this case, for this example, we just had three measurements. We can, since all three scale factors are the same, we can conclude that they are similar objects. All right. Now, what this means is Mini-Me is a 5 to 8 scale model of Dr. Evil. So therefore, if Mini-Me's hands are 10 centimeters long, how long are Dr. Evil's hands? All right. Now, the first thing I want to just point out here is how I got this scale. So let's do a little bit of a kind of a quick math here. So if the scale factor is 0.625, to write it as a ratio or as a fraction, I'm just going to write this. If I convert this to a fraction, it's 625 over, and if moving this over 3 decimal places, it's going to be over 1,000. Okay, so I'll just confirm that. So if I took 625 and divide it by 1,000, I'm going to get 0.625. Okay, so that's how you convert from decimals to fractions. Now, this fraction itself can reduce, right? So as the I can actually divide this by what can I divide by 25, I believe. So I can reduce this fraction. So 625 divided by 25 is 25. Oh, I can divide it by a larger number. My bad. Actually, oops. You can actually divide by 125. Just realized. All right, so 625 divided by 125 is 5. This would be 5 over. And 100 divided by 120, or sorry, 1,000 divided by 125 is equal to 8. Okay, so yeah, so the scale factor of being 0.625, when I convert it to a fraction, right, 625 over 1,000, I can reduce that fraction to 5 over 8. So that's how we get the scale. So it's a 5 to 8 scale. And so if to figure out how long Dr. Evil's hands are, again, my scale factor is 5 over 8. And so this is going to equal, and up top, mini me, so this is again new over old, so the 10 would be placed up here, and the x would be on the bottom. Okay, so again, this is new up top, old on the bottom. And so the new is mini me, the old here is Dr. Evil. All right, so if I was to solve for x, I'm going to cross multiply here. And so we get 5x equals 8 times 10. Okay, so 5x equals 80. And if I divide both sides by 5, we get x equals 16. Right? And yeah, so measurement 16 centimeters. Okay, so as it turns out, Dr. Evil's hands would be 16 centimeters long. All right, so again, that's just using scale factor to figure out the a dimension, or to figure out a measurement. All right. Yep. So that's similar objects.